What up, y'all? Happy Sunday night. I hope you're doing well. I'm a little bit tired. I'm just getting in from work. We did some spring cleaning around the restaurant, so had kind of a big night. And then last night, I was away for my Secret Teachings of Jesus video. We went out for one of our coworkers' birthdays after work, and we just had a good time, kind of partied, but I hadn't given myself off like a night off in a while from the videos, so I thought that would be an okay exception. I didn't get in until like 4 in the morning, and I was like, well, I think I'm gonna eat, and then there was no way I had any energy, so I just thought I would get some rest and practice the faith that it would not affect me in the algorithm. And that's a good example of when we talk about certainty. Certainty is an example of the kind of faith that is meant by the Hebrew word emunah. Emunah is faith that is transcendent of logic and reason. So even though I'm like, oh man, I know I need to make a video every single day, I get dinged in the algorithm, I'm gonna choose to have faith and certainty in the light that all of my efforts are, they're not gonna count for nothing, that divine creator is more powerful than the algorithm. In fact, the creator is probably present within the algorithm. So any minute, everything can change, and it's not going to be the one video that I miss or, put up that I made a mistake in or whatever that's going to make or break me. And the thing about spirituality is that it's like we're always trying to kind of like be comfortable with a paradox of the fact that even though I should show up and give 110% and maximum effort everywhere I can, at the same time, I have to be surrendered and released enough not to let the channel be a cage or, something that enslaves me, right? So you have to keep a balance. Like you have to go like above and beyond and make all the effort, and then also be understanding with yourself if you don't live up to the standard every single time. But then you can't be too lax with yourself either to be like, well, I don't feel like it tonight either, I'm still tired. So you know what I mean? It's a constant balance, but it's a dance that we do in spirituality. But I thought that would be a good example to workshop live so that you guys could see an example of like emunah or certainty. Because it's like, yes, I hope that it won't affect me, but even hoping leaves room for there to be doubt that things won't work out. Whereas I have certainty that even if I take a ding in the algorithm, that creator can come in at any moment and turn it all around, that it doesn't matter, that it's going to all be fine, and that whoever needs to find the messages will. And maybe I needed to take a break. Maybe that was, what was meant to be all along. And so that's the certainty. It's like you choose to have, you don't let fear and doubt creep in and cause negativity, that you don't let that cause, that you don't let that plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Okay, let's look ahead to see what we can expect for this week to come. We've got knowledge, which I love. In my own weekly spread, this deck was really pointing out the end of cycles and the beginning of things that bring us passion and, going in a direction that we're divinely guided to go in. And so piggybacking on that, this week we are going to be, it looks like putting our knowledge into practice. Like what we know, how do we apply our knowledge in the world, and how do we, make this slice of world our own using the knowledge that we have in the best way to sort of bloom in our potential. I love this iris too, because something is coming into potential right now, or something is coming into bloom that has to do with using what we know now about long held cycles and lessons that we've been learning through our lives. Right now in Tennessee, the irises are in bloom. That's our flower that's like the spring bulb flower that's blooming right now. So I feel like this is kind of a sign that like something that's happening right now, like there's positive things happening, and it's happening to utilize, like to put into practice and embody what you've been learning. Interesting. All right, what else do we need to know for this week? So this look ahead is going to be sort of like the energetic weather that we are going to be sort of under the influence of. This is going to be like the circumstances of the week. And then tomorrow we do our anchor message, which kind of tells us more detail about the lessons that we'll be learning and working with. Okay, so we're really gaining confidence, and we're activating our solar plexus, our strength, our persistence, our willpower. Last week we had themes around like the feminine king of wands, you know, about mastering that realm and element of the wands, which is fire, which is our sense of self, our sense of identity, our self-esteem, our self-worth, our confidence, our ability to turn inward and like feel a sense of being guided. That's where the solar plexus come in. It's like that clairsentience where you just kind of like sense something and know it. That's the solar plexus. It's also like self-discipline and persistence and determination and focus and your ability to be it's like your intelligence that allows you to sort of like get it, to pick up and understand what's going on, your comprehension. You're going to just, like, it's all falling into place. And because you're starting to be like, oh yeah, I'm really getting life, or whatever it is right now, your project that you're working on, or something that you've been wrestling with for a long time, you may be making a turning point. It's like you're starting to feel and see how far you've come, and then it's starting to make you feel more uplifted and more confident in yourself. All right, what else do we need to know so that we can open up and unfold in our potential, overcome our shortcomings and long-held patterns? Ooh, sorrow. Sorrow had come up last week, and I think that rather than feeling fresh sorrow, I think that we are observing our existing sorrow. Like, I think that we're able to take a step back and witness the things in our life that we're like, man, it's really sad that it has to be that way. But like having like found some kind of acceptance to just live with it and do your best to create a mindset for yourself that allows you to be joyful, you know, regardless of the circumstances. But it's difficult, you know, when we come to the end of these cycles, you know, it's like things in our life change and we're not the person that we used to be. And we're not really leading a life that we used to be, or, you know, doing those same things. And so that whole identity is gone, and we do have to grieve that. But I think there can be some like kind of disembodied grief that we didn't process. And I think it can just come in these bouts of like kind of like recognizing just general sorrow, you know. My birthday is this week. I hope that I'm not feeling sorrowful. I was really looking forward to just having a fun, uplifting week. But again, this card came out last week, and I was not sad through the week at all. In fact, there were like really deep and profound conversations that I was having with a friend, where we were sort of like observing the holy vision of sorrow, which was like seeing the world and how it is, and feeling sad knowing like what it could be, but like seeing the reality of like how things are, you know. And that's that's kind of heartbreaking when you really see it and you can't unsee it. All right, and one last card to set us up for the week ahead. Ooh, what's this? Love. This had come out in my reading earlier. I feel that everything in our life for this new cycle, for this new chapter, this new story, this new version of us, like, I feel like we are following and trusting love. That we are done doing things and going after things and pursuing things because we feel entitled or like it's our duty or we have to or there's expectations on us. Well, this is what, everybody's always done, that kind of thing. Like we're not going along with that kind of shit anymore. And the things that weren't authentic to us, the things that weren't truly in alignment with us, that weren't ever going to bring us the ultimate potential or fulfillment in our life. Like, I think that these things have just been sort of gradually sort of making their exit or growing more distant. And so what we are building upon now is love. And what we're letting lead us now is love. And so when you're making decisions, really make them from the heart, tune in. Is this going to fill your life with more love and good feelings and great experiences and things that are uplifting and elevating? Or is this going to be a decision that you're making where you are contracting and holding yourself back because you're fearful or you're grasping for something and you're afraid that you're not going to get what's coming to you? And so you kind of like, you take the wrong thing or the wrong thing at the wrong time or something, and then you make your decisions based on guilt or lack or doubt. And so then you're building a life that's not satisfying, that's not happy, that's not uplifting, because you were just you're in reaction mode to like the circumstances and the winds of change. Instead of being still, that what we're learning to do, observing, what's playing out and like tuning in, what are we sensing? What's our intuition? What's our divine guidance here? What are we feeling? What are we thinking? It's our thoughts and our feelings, like we can choose those and we cultivate those. So it's really important that the filter through which we perceive has been adjusted and purified. That way we're not misinterpreting things through a distorted lens, or we aren't looking at things in a negative, like self-defeating way when there's actually a lot of potential and possibility, right? So yeah, let love lead, let yourself be uplifted. If you are kind of witnessing like these sorrowful things, don't be afraid, don't shy away from it, really take a look at it. Because our hearts are becoming strong enough not to get completely sucked into the plot of the sadness. We can kind of compartmentalize a little bit and observe, be the observer without necessarily getting sucked into the story and getting like caught, and being taken down into like depression or like, deep sadness. It's like you can observe things that are sorrowful and what can you take away from that? And like, what do you want to do about it to change that, to transmute that, to start putting more positivity or more good out there and start doing your part to change and transmute the darkness. Because we've all been allotted like this pile of negativity, this darkness, this evil in this world that we've been given each, an assignment to transmute this. And this shows up in different ways for each person. It might show up as personality flaws, weaknesses, temptations, habits, patterns, experiences. Like everybody's gonna have a different set of things. in this pile of darkness that we have to experience and then transmute into the light, into love. We have to go through a healing process so that that energy does not perpetuate in darkness. It doesn't perpetuate in me reacting and then playing out another pattern and then causing pain to someone else who then deepens into their patterns. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're changing these things so that instead it's like we're creating more healing in the world, more light, more positive experiences, more loving experiences. You know, things are becoming elevated and expanded instead of contracted. But yeah, so I hope that we all have a fun week ahead. I'm going to pull one more card just to see, since we got one of the chakra cards. Just one more. Ooh, ego. Okay, great. So the thing that's going to help reveal more love in our life is just observing and adjusting and healing the ego. We don't want to kill the ego. The ego is great. We just want a healthy and well-adjusted ego, and we don't want our ego running the show. So like our ego, when it's well-adjusted and healthy, gives us enough self-worth to go put ourselves out there in the world and, you know, step up to the plate and be competent and, you know, able to be out in the world and do things and, you know, use our voice and speak up. If we didn't have that at all, we'd just be like very timid doormats who would stay in the shadows and not do anything. So the Creator needs us to have some ego, like a healthy ego, but we just don't need to think that we are any more important or any less important than anyone else is. And so, yeah, try to witness any kind of limiting beliefs coming up this week. We're really observing the things that weigh on our mind, that plague our mind, that keep us in those darker patterns and in patterns that result in sorrow. So you guys, watch your ego this week. The more you can do to observe it and break those, like when you expose the ego's tricks, you're sort of wise to its games and they don't have as much of an effect on you anymore because you can see it coming and you can see the tricks and you can kind of like get out ahead of it. So, all right, well, y'all have a good rest of your day and have a good rest of your week. And I will see y'all later to talk about our anchor message and see what kind of lessons we're working with. All right, ciao.